to the Brook Hill podcast. We've got our guest today is the Tucker Robertson.
Woo, woo.
And yes, there's the crowd loves Tuck. I mean, he's a Mustang. Who would not? My co-host today is the Jason Ross.
That's what they call me. I love it.
Tyler is on one today. The camp director of Brook Hill Ranch Summer Camp, and so man, Tucker he's a. Are you a legacy guy?
I am.
Oh yeah,
he is a legacy
big
guy.
Time.
Who was head of Hill this last year on Bro Hill. And, of course, he's a legacy. Of course, he's head of Hill. He's at the Mustangs.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
that's where both of us were. So Tucker has how many years were you a camper?
Let's see, six.
6 years as a camper, 3 years as a JC?
2.
2 years as a JC. Then you've done 4 all summers, so 6 in the red tee. And Tucker.
All of those in the Mustangs?
So the first year I was AC until the beginning of week 4. And then I was in the Mustangs.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then he took over the Mustangs right
That's
there.
the Mustangs is one of the top 10 cabins at Brook Hill. It's really close.
That's top 50% right there.
I know. That's a big deal. I'm really happy for you, man. I really am.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
We've been moving up the ranks.
So, Tucker, you went to U of A for
like major or how long?
Yeah, how long did you go to U of
3
A?
years.
And then what was your major?
Criminology.
Criminology.
Let's go.
And you now actually have a job working where?
In the jail, Washington County Jail.
Okay.
Yep.
So you are heading down the path of what you're seeing. Are you enjoying it? Or is
I am,
it
very
okay.
much so. I wouldn't. There's times where it's very fun, but there's times where it's hard work, but it's all rewarding for sure.
Okay. Well, I want us to get into that, but man, first off, to talk a little bit about camp. Talk about Brook Hill, man. This last summer, being a legacy counselor, what have you loved about camp? What drew you to camp? How'd you get here?
So I would say how I got here. I went to school with a guy named Manley Roberts, and
No way.
yeah. Good old Manley. Was he cousins with Lindley or something?
Yeah. I literally had dinner with him this last week.
Cousins with Lindley? That's cool.
Yeah.
I had dinner with him this last week. We talked. He's going to be an architect or engineer.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Engineer in Fayetteville.
He's a beast. But
Yeah.
we were young, and he'd always talked about Brook Hill, and like that whole family had talked about it because our parents were close. So my mom was like, "Hey, you want to go to a summer camp?" I was like, "Sure." So me and my best friend Jaden, we came to camp that summer. I think we were 4th graders, something like that. So it would have been our second year of able to go. So we were 4th graders, and we came to camp. I was in Tyler's cabin in the Morgans.
Let's go.
Defense.
I was
Nice.
I was a fun camper. I'm sure about it. But yeah, we had a great time and just kept coming back every year. It just got better every year.
Man.
For sure.
That's crazy. I did not know the Manley Roberts connection.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew you went to BP.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what it was called originally.
Yeah. Arkansas Baptist.
Arkansas Baptist,
Yeah.
but now it's Baptist Prep.
Yeah.
Preparatory.
Now it's high class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you don't go there anymore.
Yep.
No. So that's a cool. I didn't know that connection. So you loved it?
Yeah. No, for sure. Camp was everything as a kid growing up, and it was more at that time definitely just having fun and doing what was fun for me and stuff like that, and like getting to hang out with my best friend at summer camp. And
What was your favorite thing?
Rivalry.
I'm going to camper you up right now.
Rivalry.
Rivalry?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Okay.
Got my JCT in it and everything. It was a blast because I was like, oh, I shoot guns at home. I can go just show up everybody at camp. I'll be the best. I wasn't.
You were the camper that said, my dad has a bazooka.
Yep.
You're that kid.
I was that kid.
And the rest of us like, no, he doesn't.
Mm-hmm. I would say like, oh, what's the biggest gun you shot? And I'd be like, oh, it's the 50 cal. Yeah.
Machine gun.
I have one in my room.
Yeah. I got a couple back home. It's no big deal.
A Tommy gun.
Yeah. But you get those cameras in rivalry. Were you the kid that shot your hat and name tag and stuff?
No, I never did that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
I don't think they would have let me.
You're a good camper.
Yeah.
I think it's cool how something's so casual. Like it's like, oh yeah, I'll go to summer camp, but then it ends up being like such a big part of your life. I
Oh,
think that's so
yeah.
cool. That's so because I just you see campers and it's like Brook Hill's everything to them. I mean, it was everything for you. I mean, and you've been here as a legacy counselor, but like it had started like how do you hey, do you want to go to summer camp? Sure.
Yeah.
And casually walked into a legacy. It's cool.
Yeah, especially it stayed casual almost. Like I loved camp and everything about it, but I never really saw like myself being a counselor and stuff like that. Like I thought about doing it, whatever, being a JC for a little bit, but like when I was first year JC, I was like, oh, this is fun, but like I'm not really seeing the all summer route. And then like second year JC, like first couple weeks, I was like, I'm just not really seeing the all summer route. Like I love being JC, but like just not seeing it. By the end of that second year as a JC, after my 4 weeks, I was like, yeah, I have to come back. I got to be all summer. I was like, I can't like JC no more. Like I have to be all summer. And from then on, it was everything.
What got you? Like what do you think flipped that switch? What made you think I can't not be here? Like what? I don't know.
There was definitely a couple different things, but I think one of the biggest has to be the community that I got from it.
Okay.
And I just felt like I could not like spend another summer without them.
Okay.
So like that whole group of
Who was your guys? Who was your group?
I never even worked with Callan. Never worked with him once as a JC.
Okay.
But we kind of hung out after camp because we were just friends with the same people. So like Neely,
That's cool.
Neely Boyd, Matty Dar.
That's right. You
like
were
all
in that
those
squad.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Katie Threet, Jenna Brannon.
Didn't y'all have a hangout?
Woods.
Didn't y'all like all go somewhere or do
Yes.
something as JCs?
Yes. So at after camp, Neely's birthday is August 25th, and so
It's a beautiful time.
we were friends and stuff like that. We weren't close. Anna Hampson's
August
part of it, but we all Neely was like, "Hey, I'm gonna have a birthday party. Y'all come up to Jonesboro." And I was like, "All right." So it ended up the group that ended up coming was the group that just became our group. So it was at that time. It's grown and fluctuated throughout the years, but it was me and Callan were the only guys, and then Maddie Kendrick, Matty Dar, Neely, obviously, Levia, Anna Hampson, Jenna Brannon, Katie Threet.
The all summer
Studs.
staff.
I think that was it. Yeah.
Wow.
Everyone at like every name you named became all summer
Yes,
staff
that was the craziest thing is that we were like,
at one time or
Yes.
another.
And good.
And
Good
really
all-summer
good.
staff.
All of them were really
Superstars.
good. Yeah.
Oh man.
it was a blast getting to hang out with them because I was not close with any of them really, especially Callan because I never worked with him ever. And so we were just hanging out. We were the only guys, and it just became that friendship that me and him have now.
Yeah. That's incredible.
Yeah.
But I think that's I think that's what Brook Hill is. It's the connection.
It is.
Right? You got those friends, and Brook Hill's all about connection. And I was talking to somebody the other day, and I don't know that as a fourth grader you could define the fun, right? Because I was pelt riflery, man, I just had a great, but I mean, riflery in and of itself is not fun. You can do that at home. But the fun is the connection.
That's right.
And I don't think when you're in 4th, 5th grade, you can process that or communicate that.
Yeah.
But that connection was happening. It starts with your counselors, and then it moves over to your camper friends. Start to, and of course, I didn't have social media. You got to connect with those people outside, right?
Yes, but the thing was, I wasn't big on social media until like really. Mainly when I was JC, but like a little bit my graduate year. Like,
But you had phones. You had the ability to connect.
Yes.
We wrote letters. Okay, that's my point.
They used to send carrier pigeons.
Yeah, like Lindley and I wrote letters to each other. So we communicated twice during the year, and then it was camp time already.
Because y'all used to etch into stone.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Yep.
That's about normal.
Yeah. And a carrier pigeon would take that stone
That's
up
a big
here.
deal.
Yeah.
That's cool.
You wrote on stone walls,
That's right.
waiting for somebody else to see
And
it.
hieroglyphs.
Yeah.
So but y'all got to communicate all throughout the year, and that's different. We didn't get to do that.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. Like you said, a word that I think is pretty interesting. Like the more and more you come back to camp, you have connection, but like you establish community, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because connection is awesome, and that's what our counselors do so well. And that's what's good about Brook Hill. But like further than connection is, and I guess the follow through of connection is community, where you literally have some of the best friends you've ever had. I mean, I've heard you and Lindley talk about y'all being at camp together and y'all knowing each other, and at that time, I don't think you were planning on being, running this whole thing, and so that's
because I hadn't met Melissa yet.
correct. But like the community, that's what brought it, home for y'all. So I think that's really neat that the connection starts the community, and the community establishes, a lot for the legacy that a lot of the counselors come up and leave.
Yeah.
I think that is what's missing. I don't think our communities are what they were like in the world. Like I feel like, and maybe it's just TV shows that you watch, right? Like the old Andy Griffith and stuff, like the old black and whites or whatever. It felt like there was a community there, and people were a part of a community.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And I don't feel like we have communities like that anymore. I think the church, right, is a way for that.
Sure.
But used to, it wasn't just the church. It was like it was everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
And where you lived, and I don't feel like you have that. So I think Brook Hill fills a void, right? I think Brook Hill comes on the scene, at least for the ones who attend here, and I think it creates a community. I think God wants us to be in community.
Oh, 100%.
I
think that it's really important that God said, number one, it's not good for man to be alone. So there's your first hint of community. Where two or more gathered, he is in our midst. One can put 1,000 to flight, two can put 10,000 to flight. So God is always working in numbers. He always wants that. And so I think community is so important. And I think it's important, I go outside my house. I got neighbors.
Yeah.
And, we just recently bought a house, 3 or 4 years ago. And I had never understood neighbors, But my neighbors surrounding us, we go out and talk to each other all the time. We have community right there outside.
Hi, Frank.
Yeah.
Hi, Bill.
But you learn his name's Paul. I feel like you learn that from connection at Brook Hill because, it's natural for us to be isolated. It's hard to go talk to somebody sometimes, I mean, even where you're working, I'm sure, in, I guess, is it a county jail?
Yes.
So in that jail, it's hard to go out and connect. I don't know. There's something inside of you that is ingrained from Brook Hill. It's like, I'm supposed to go connect right now, and that was beat into what Stephen, beat that into our brains. Like, what are you doing? What are you sitting down for? There's people around. Go connect. Go be an extrovert. Even if you were an introvert and he forced you to. So it's cool.
Yeah. So I know, my first day working in the jail, I had no clue what to do. So when I was walking through and doing everything I was supposed to do, I didn't know how to interact with them. So I just reverted back to camp. I reverted back to, hey, just noticing something they're doing and then just asking them about it. Like, they're reading a book, oh, what are you reading? And then they tell me about it, and I just have a conversation based off of what I could talk about with that book.
Sorry.
And I'm assuming that's okay.
Yeah. No, it's fine. Yeah.
Right.
What do you I guess what do you do in jail? I don't have much experience behind prison bars or anything, although I visited people in jail, but what is your role? You see in movies, the security guards just kind of sitting down, fiddling with their keys. But what do you do?
That's Tucker.
Yeah.
He fiddles with his keys.
So we have our daily duties, which the most important one is jail checks, because we go every hour to just walk through the blocks, and we have to check on them, make sure everybody
counting campers.
Yes, counting campers. That is exactly what it is.
Nice.
And then we feed. Lunch and breakfast. My shift feeds lunch and breakfast, and we on different days we'll either switch out their stripes, their clothes, and wash them, or their blankets and towels, get those washed, and then commissary type stuff. So if they've bought anything, we give that to them and stuff like that.
It's cool.
Yeah, those are our daily duties. There's a lot of other stuff that just kind of happens, but
are there groups that come in and do jail ministry?
Yes, we have chaplains.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Different ones. Is it through churches? Is it just through different
It's basically just a group of older guys that are all buddies.
Okay.
They're all buddies. And one of them has been the head chaplain for 15 to 30 years, something like that, for a while now.
Wow.
And,
So he organizes it all?
yes, and I think he kind of has brought all of his buddies into it. I think it was just him when he started, and he just kind of brought all of his buddies into it, which is, I mean, to do that with like just a group of your friends would be so fun.
Oh man.
But
has he reached in to get maybe more younger guys up so that this thing doesn't die when,
I do not know if he has or not.
Okay.
He probably should.
I just didn't know if you've seen any younger
No,
guys.
I've not seen the younger guys, but he'll do baptisms on Sundays and stuff like that. And a lot of guys that I work with don't necessarily like doing them because you're just standing there because you have to be in there with them.
Okay.
But you just kind of stand there for like 2 hours. But I very much enjoy that because you get to build that, like, even just for a split second when they're in there, you get to build that connection of saying, like, like when they get done, like, hey, I'm proud of you. That was a big step forward.
Right.
Like, I want to see where you get moved in this area, like how you're changing, how you become who you were saying you become, and it kind of instills in them a little bit of like, oh, I'm, somebody else is rooting for me in this.
Right.
Not just like, it's not me. I'm not just doing it for a certificate to make me look good.
Yeah.
So that's a really cool thing that I get to do with that.
Do you see change happen in it, like at least when they're there?
Yes. Not 100% of the time. And some people though, yes, for sure. They have a lighter presence. I've seen like some very hard and angry people go in and they have a conversation with the chaplain and they get baptized or whatever it is that they do. And they're just so much lighter. They have a lighter presence. They're happier. They're encouraging us as like detention officers. They like see us and they can tell if we're having a bad day or anything like that. They'll encourage us. There's one that I have a specific connection to because the entire time I've been there, he's been encouraging me and like I've had conversations about what the Bible says about baptisms with him, and he's like brought sheets of paper that he has like written stuff down on and like just talked to me about. And it's the coolest thing ever because he has spent his time, like there's not a whole lot to do, just sitting there, and he just has a Bible and he has just been pouring into that Bible. And he is like, we've had some really good conversations, something that I never thought I would have, like some very biblically based conversations about whatever it is. Just never thought I would have that in the jail, which is the coolest thing ever.
Neat.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's really neat.
Obviously this is a forgotten group of people, people that are in jail, people that are in prison, and so, to be able to be there and to see people come in and do ministry, and the overwhelming majority of people who are in jail or in prison are men or boys. I mean, that just is what it is.
Yeah.
It's a fact. And, I don't know, you probably haven't done a survey, but I mean, most people in there, is it addiction that maybe led them to get in there? I mean, I don't know if that ever comes up to kind of know, hey, most of these people in here, because of addiction, maybe that led then to bad decisions, dumb decisions, big regrets.
Yeah. So a lot of what they're in on now, like the majority of them is like a failure to appear at court or something like that. But it all, like most of them stem from addictions or getting caught with drugs or anything like that. And it's tough to see because they are dealing with it a lot. And the longer they're there, the better they get with it, and the less they want to be with that addiction. But when they're first there, all they're wanting is just to leave and get out and go back to what they were doing.
Because they're kind of detoxing a little bit.
Yes, we do. Like there is legit, like they stay in our intake cell for about a week.
Okay.
So you'll have a program to like get them detoxed.
Yeah, and
That's cool.
that's tough to see because they're just going through it in that week for sure. But yeah, a lot of it, I would say probably about 75 to 80% is like drug or alcohol involved stuff.
I mean, I think it's no secret, and this is something we've talked about at camp, boys are struggling in our world today. And, I mean, I don't think you can put it on one reason or another, but the bottom line is boys learn how to be a man from men.
True.
And we need more men in their lives. Obviously this group of men that's coming to try and help these guys, and not just in prison. I mean, just boys struggle everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean that's something that we've talked about a lot at camp. That's why we do the Bro Zoom and do some of the things that we do.
Yeah.
The bro movement that we talk
Yeah.
about trying to make. You know, I know that Tucker's been really a part of Brook Hill in the last 4 years trying to create a bro movement
Yeah.
because we see this.
Yeah.
That guys are the overwhelming suicides, they're the overwhelming prison, they're the overwhelming low grades in school. They're the overwhelming alcohol addiction, drug addiction. I mean, just go on and on and on, and it just I don't know why, other than
I mean, I think that it's pretty apparent that the Bible says without vision people perish,
right,
and I think there is a lack of vision for manhood,
right,
and where one culture or generation loses the vision for manhood, they're not teaching vision of manhood to the next,
Right.
and it's almost like a weird cycle we're seeing, where, we've all, seen it from the outside and going, whoa, 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 what are we doing? What's happening? And this is not at all a slide to women, because women are doing things. They're
they're killing it. They're doing
killing
great.
it.
Yeah,
So do it. I love it. But I do feel like men are losing that vision to step up and have, integrity, character, do the right thing for the right reasons. And I'm not even talking about. I mean, obviously we live by the word of God and all that, but even outside of that, just even if you're not a Christian, men doing the right things for the right reasons, men loving people, connecting with people, giving to people, and you're not seeing a whole lot of that anymore, and so there's no giving happening of life,
right.
and so where you're not giving life, you're not reaping life either. And I don't know, it seems like because that vision has kind of deteriorated, it seems to me from the outside that like the men have started to perish and the boys have kind of been.
I feel like we gravitate to where people are cheering for us at. I feel like we gravitate to where where the crowd is saying you're awesome, right? And because I think we all want to be awesome, and I think girls are getting a lot of cheerleading. There's a lot of people saying, "Girls, be awesome. You're awesome. You can be awesome." And I feel like guys, other than being a goofball or being an athlete, other than that, they're saying, I feel like what is being overwhelmingly said is men are terrible.
Yeah.
Men need to be soft. You need to be softer. And then I think when guys do that, there's something in them that rejects that, but I'm still going to where I'm cheered for.
Right.
Right? And
Yeah,
so
that's
I just try and look at why do guys do so well at Brook Hill. I think they're cheered for, for being who God called them to be.
Yeah.
And so, I just wonder, I know the big concept. And so growing up, I was cheered for, be a man, be a man, be a man, right?
Yep.
You've grown up, Tucker, you're a couple years younger than me. Do you feel like people have cheered for you to be a man? Yeah, I don't know.
Like you said, definitely at camp, it just happens here. But just having the role models that I do here, we're constantly talking about having conversations about being a man and what that man should look like. So here, definitely. In my family life, for sure, my dad has instilled, for a long time, what a man should look like. And
I love it.
So
Great.
appreciative of that. Even at work in jail, they're very much encouraging us to be the way that we are. Great bosses, great coworkers. They're awesome. They're all amazing. And we've always talked about like camp will be the best like work experience that you'll ever have, and that's still true to this day. But I did not expect working in jail would be like the coworkers and the boss that I had like would be so good to me, and like the way that they talk about being a man, the way that they talk about their families and what they are doing and how hard they work for them. It's inspiring to watch that.
That's awesome.
I do think I've noticed. I think that where culture is, they define manhood differently. We define it as character, and integrity and your actions and what you're doing and, how you're giving, serving to people, how you're raising your family. Whereas I think if someone in our culture might hear the word manhood, they might think immediately toxic masculinity.
Right.
They would equivalate those together.
Right.
And so for you to be a man is for you to be toxic.
Right.
And that's just not the definition of a real man. That
Right.
is what people have exemplified as
Right.
manhood. And yes, they were wrong 100%. But, we define manhood as character, integrity, and raising up and giving what we've learned in our wisdom down to the next generation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because masculinity is something that we have and ingrained in us. And so to squash it is to go against who we are. There's a reason that I like going outside and breaking sticks, and I don't know.
You do that a lot.
Yeah, I break sticks a lot.
You break sticks a lot.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Little sticks.
There's a reason that I have a and this isn't everybody, but I've got a competitive nature. I like to
Right.
compete. I like to win. I like to, not to a toxic level where I'm,
Right.
throwing chairs across the court
Yeah.
or anything like that. But
But I think all we're talking about is the ditches. I think toxic is one ditch.
right,
And then now, so I think we're trying to push guys into the other ditch, which is the tender ditch.
yep,
And I think, God has called us to be in the middle,
100%.
just to be a tender warrior, right?
100%.
Jordan Peterson talks about being a dangerous person, but have it under voluntary control.
Yep.
Having the ability to go out and do what needs to be done, but you're under control, self-control. And toxic is a ditch, but soft is a ditch.
Oh yeah,
And I think to push guys to away from who they're created to be is where we're at today. And I think it's confusing guys so much. And I think that's why we're seeing the suicide rate go up, because they just don't feel right in their own skin.
sure.
Sure. And if no one's cheering for me to be who I am, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
I think we all are drawn to where we're cheered for.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a good point.
I don't want to be. I want to avoid what's negative. I think that's the natural thing. Unfortunately, if guys are going to be men today, they're going to have to walk into the booze, right? The crowd booing at you.
Right.
I mean,
Sure.
I mean that but that's that whole cycle. Y'all know the cycle.
Yeah.
Hard times create strong men. Strong men create easy times. Easy times create weak men. Weak men create difficult times. And so that's that. It's a cycle. It's a circle.
It's a circle.
It's like a pyramid. So, I mean, what is your observation of that? I mean, you're working with all these men. You've worked here at Brook Hill. I mean, what do you think?
So we were talking about ditches, and you said the Jordan Peterson line about being, a strong man, like a violent man that's
Have it under voluntary control.
Yes. And that makes me think of, a warrior rather be a warrior in a garden than be a gardener in a war.
Right. I love that line.
It's great, and I've been thinking about it a lot recently because, you think of a jail, you don't think necessarily it's a garden.
Sure.
But you have to, obviously I want to be a warrior in a garden, but I'm not necessarily in a garden, but I want to be.
Right.
So it is my job to make where I'm at a garden.
It's great.
Even if I'm a warrior,
Come on.
that is where I want to be, is in a garden. So every day when I'm in work, I'm in the jail, I'm working. My job is to just make things calm, make things better, make the days better by being somebody strong enough to do that.
Come on.
Because if you are a gardener in a war, you cannot make that place a garden.
That's right. That's good.
That's
So
excellent.
that's something I've been thinking about a lot recently.
Man, and Tucker, I think it's important. We talk about owning your area here, build your own Brook Hill wherever you go, and I love because you're doing that. And to see you grow and your attitude will be contagious. It will.
Oh,
your
yeah.
teammates are going to get that.
Absolutely.
So do you see? Is this? Like, do you like this direction of criminology and what you've done through your U of A study, or do you see it going? I know you talked about FBI at one time. Like, where do you see this going?
So I really enjoy working at a jail right now. It is not going to be my future. I want to be more into the community, be a little bit more proactive before they can get there.
Okay.
And make
more
impressions
prevention.
on them. Yes, more prevention. So I would love to be, at least for a little bit, just a regular police officer that is working in the streets, working in the community, being a influence on the people that need the influence. And like being able to show those young men how to be a man is something I've always, like, especially through the uniform, something that is seen so, like, it's been, downtrodden on so recently. And to kind of change that perspective on that, and to show them what a real man is through that uniform too, just kind of like killing two birds with one stone, is something that I want to do, especially I think like later on, like a student resource officer, being with kids again, like at that very impressionable age.
Sure. Yeah.
That'd be awesome. It's something I would really want to do.
Yeah,
That's
to
cool.
be in schools and to be, connecting with kids. And that's
cool.
incredible.
Yeah.
Well, we need that. We need, and obviously there's a lot of great officers out there. We have other counselors whose parents are officers, and they're unbelievable. But to get more, like you out there connecting, and we need great leaders. And I mean, you got to have some sort of officers. I mean, this whole get rid of them thing was really funny, but you have to have some sort of officers. You do, and so to have incredible, high character men and women who are out there, doing that. I mean, that's what it's all about. And that's what you feel called to do.
Yeah.
So how long have you felt called to be that?
So I've always, not always, but I would say from when I was 16, 17, I knew I kind of wanted to be in law enforcement somehow, to be in a community making a difference. And I think that's a great way to do that. I didn't realize that's what I wanted to do, realizing that I wanted to make the difference in the community was why I wanted to do it. I didn't realize that until later, but it, thinking back on it now, it always kind of has made sense to me to do that. But I would say, 16, 17 is probably when I started thinking about it and wanted to do it. And then it's always been a part of my life, been around me, because hearing stories from my mom working in juvie for a long time, and stories from my dad who worked in the prosecutor's office for a while. It's just
okay. So this is a family thing. All right, explain that.
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know this. Explain what your mom and dad did.
My mom was I can't remember I always forget the title. She was some kind of thing in juvie.
What did she do? Yeah, the title's.
So she would basically, kids would get arrested and something like that. The cops would call her, and she would decide whether they go to detention or just let the parents deal with it. Basically.
Wow.
And
That's
if they were
going
to detention, they would have a meeting with her, and so she would be able to talk with them, see what's up with them, kind of she's been mentors to a lot of people that have come through her office.
Yep.
Now she's working with kids. She works a lot with Elizabeth Pulley.
Yeah. The
Cool.
CAC. Yeah, more abused.
Yes.
Yeah, kids.
So she's worked a lot
incredible.
with that.
That's
recently.
an incredible ministry. Yeah. And what does your dad do?
So he is now an attorney, but he worked in the prosecutor's office for a long time, and so he's worked.
Which one?
Little Rock, I guess.
Okay, that's cool.
But he he knows a lot of cops. He knows a lot of those types of people, and so I've always heard stories about that.
So you come from the law side.
Yes.
Okay.
For sure.
All right. I did
cool.
not know that.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So that definitely has had an influence on you. All right. So Tuck, you left U of A, and where are you living at now?
I'm living in Fayetteville still.
You still are living in Fayetteville.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Why did I think it was Little Rock?
I knew that.
Yeah. I thought it was Little Rock.
No, I'm living in
He
Fayetteville.
was in Little Rock for a minute.
Yes, I was.
During that transition,
Yes.
you kind of had a
Okay.
Yeah.
month
And
or
so you're living in Fayetteville, are you an apartment? What are you?
Yeah, I have an apartment.
Okay, and
Up
so
there.
and that's where the jail is up there in
Yes,
Fayetteville.
it's in Fayetteville.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
When you become a police officer, does the mustache come with it?
Man, I hope
'Cause
so.
I'm not gonna lie. I was kind
I
of looking.
really
I
hope
really
so.
when you walked up, I thought, oh man, I was really expecting him to come up with just a full mustache,
stash is
Tom
in.
Selleck looking.
I hope that's what happens. I hope as soon as I become a
Yes.
police officer, I gain the ability to
And the
grow.
shades,
happens.
and
It's
the
like a
shades.
superpower.
You got to have the shades.
Yep.
Yeah,
But right now, it's not there.
So, what was it like, I guess, transitioning from college life to full on, I've got my own apartment, I've got I don't want to say a big boy job, but like when you're in college, you're not doing
Yeah.
full-time jobs,
Yeah.
and
So you're saying being a houseboy like Andrew Spigner is not a real boy job?
Oh man, it was difficult at first. It was very weird because I'm on a very different schedule from all my friends that are up there now, so I'm not seeing them nearly as much. Because like in the past years, we all have classes or whatever. I'd see them on campus, but if not, we had like the same amount of free time basically. But I would say, man, first off, paying for, real life stuff and getting money to do that, very nice.
oh sure,
It's very cool to have a lot of money like that. Not a lot, but more
Cash
than
flow.
I've ever had.
Yeah.
Like the summers at camp.
Yes. It's yeah, for sure.
it's a great plug.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Since then, you hadn't been that. Now you're
yeah.
rolling like you worked.
But like paying for things and like having it, there's a lot more to focus on. So it's different. I was usually I was very blessed to just kind of like not focus on a lot except for what I was responsible for, and now I'm just a lot more.
You don't know what you don't know until you live on your own.
Yes.
Oh,
You
it's
know,
true.
I laugh at Ben Brown and Spigner when they were in the LC trailer here. They didn't know how to operate the thermostat. Yeah.
Yeah.
They had no idea. They said, how do you change or whatever? And I was like, you just change the thermostat. Like, how do you do that? It's like, y'all lived in your house with the guy. He said the other guys took care of that. At their bro house in Fayetteville, the other guys took care of that, so they didn't know. I mean, I'm mocking them because it's fun to mock Ben Brown and Andrew Spigner, but it's that's a small thing, but you don't know what you don't know. Like, how do you pay a bill?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a big
Yeah.
learning curve.
Had to learn that one.
I remember,
That's for
so-
sure.
and on what day?
This is a funny story. When I was a first-time senior counselor, it's my first year at camp. I'm learning everything. Well, I had acquired a vehicle, and I had never owned
Legally?
legally. Yeah, I stole a car. So I acquired a vehicle. Somebody gave that vehicle to me. It was a big, huge blessing, like big time. So I was given this car, and I had never really handled my own car stuff before. The truck that I had in high school, everybody else kind of did everything, so I whatever. Well, they were like, hey, you need to get insurance for your car, and I was like, okay, I think okay. I don't know what. So I went into the office on my off activity, and I'm on this big block of a computer, and I'm trying to like look up insurances and what that is. And Kelly in the office, who's been in the office for, I don't know how
100 years.
100 years, so long. She, who I get to work with every day now, she leaned over and saw young, 18-year-old Jason trying to figure out insurance. She was like, do you need some help? And I was like, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I was about to pay like $600 a month for, liability, on my car. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just like, I guess I don't know what's liability. What even is that? I don't even,
Right.
So it is funny. You don't know what you don't know until you do it.
And when you don't know, I think sometimes you're embarrassed to ask.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you feel like you should know, and it's like, how?
Right.
How should I know? Have you ever felt? I mean, have you had things you've come across because you're renting, but you have to have renter's insurance for it and all that stuff?
Yeah, that a lot to do with like renting and like paying bills. That was a big one, and like the different bills you have to pay for, like electric and all that
Water,
jazz, water,
gas, internet.
Wi-Fi. Trying
Yeah.
to get Wi-Fi to your place.
Right.
That was nuts.
It's always been free.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't know what to do. I was like, it doesn't have Wi-Fi. What? I have to get this myself.
I do think the responsibility does. I don't know what it is about it, but like, I could be making more money and not have any responsibility, and I didn't have any money left over. But then when I had responsibility, I was, even if I was making less money, I somehow was just better at managing it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it makes you better. And you're like, how am I saving more now than I was when I was making more money and had no bills? You just, I don't know, for some reason it makes you better.
It grows you up. Maturity is measured by how much you're in charge of. And the less you're in charge of, if mom's doing your clothes, if they're paying your bills, then you're less mature.
Yeah.
The more mature you are tells about the more parts of your life that you own. You know, if you're paying for your gas, if you're paying for your insurance, you're more mature. Why? Because you're responsible. That's responsibility.
Yeah.
And so, you know, until you take that leap, that's scary. I mean, that's the leap you're taking.
And you got something to lose. I mean, if you don't do it, I mean, it kind of forces you into maturity because, like, you know, before, if they don't pay the bill, that's on my mom and dad will take care of that, whatever. No.
Yeah.
Lose my apartment.
Yeah.
You know,
Be homeless for a little bit.
Yeah.
So you're figuring it out.
Yeah, I am. It's
no roommates?
no roommates.
All
just me.
you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I love it.
Yeah. The fridge is a lot more empty than it has been in the past.
But you're in the Fayetteville community. You're still getting to hang out with your friends, and
Yes.
you're still in that transition period. But that's cool though.
I'm very glad I was able to stay up there and, you know, be with my friends for that last year that they were there and like before everybody just splits up and moves away. So that's very nice to be able to be up there.
I bet it's nice. I bet it's nice having your own place.
Yeah,
It's pretty sweet.
it's very nice. I don't have to. Yeah,
Yeah.
especially
it's
with
like
my
yours.
schedule.
Like
Because
that's my
if I had
place.
roommates, I would like want to stay up and hang out with them or whatever. But you know, I'm going to work in the dark and getting home in the dark. So I get home and I'm wanting
That's
to go to bed.
adulthood right there.
Yeah.
You
Wow.
just defined adulthood.
Yeah. And so I get home and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna make dinner and I'm going to bed. That is it.
Are your shifts that long? How long are your shifts?
12 hours?
Wow.
Was it 412s though? Or
It's
or
3
312s?
on, 3 off, 4 on, 4 off. So
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, so I get a good amount of days off, especially those
I like
4
that your
offs.
days off are consecutive. That's pretty cool.
4 offs are nice.
Yeah.
Those are nice.
So it's like Brook Hill again. Here's my off activity. I got 4 offs right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's ever had 4 offs in Brookville, but
Yeah, Tucker has.
Yeah, totally.
All right, so Tuck, looking back at camp, what has been the greatest thing you've learned? You feel like, you know, leadership wise, you know, as we're bringing this towards the end here, wrapping this up, you know, what are some things? What are some takeaways on your leadership, your life, what you're doing?
I would say, like, skill-wise, people skills,
Okay.
without a doubt.
Come on.
Being able to talk to, like, you know, my first year on All Summer, I was really good with one group of kids, you know, and, like, one type of kid. And now that I've, like, you know, grown and gone through all those years of camp, I feel like I am comfortable talking to, it doesn't matter who. Like, I can have conversations and connect with whoever it is. And that is correlated so much into what I'm doing now because there's so many different types of people, different types of mindsets in where I'm working. And to be able to connect with all of them in different ways is a very special thing. And all of it comes from camp and being able to connect with kids, to being able to connect with just whoever it is. Leadership-wise, just being the attitude, the working hard attitude. Some people, you know, that I'm working with, they're like, okay, it's our Friday. We're going to, you know, relax, not do as much. I'm like, well, I want to get stuff done. I'm here to, you know, do this. And, like, whether it's here to make their lives better or here to do the job, like, we have a responsibility to do this job, and we should do it to the best of our ability. And so that attitude, because they're always like, oh, you know, we're taking a break, you know, we're relaxing a little bit. I'm like, yeah, but we could be using this time to do what we need to do and do what we have to do to help these people out, you know, to put them in a better situation, whether it's moving them to a different block or, you know, like, we could get stuff done right now that we need to get done, whether it's cleaning or feeding or anything like that. Like, you know, there's more time we could be doing, like, spending time with them, making an impact on their life and, you know, just making their lives easy or whatever it is. Like, we could be working right now, not necessarily just, you know, taking a break. And now there's times for breaks. You know, I get it, you're tired and stuff like that. Off activities.
On your days off.
Yeah.
yeah, right.
But, like, you know, we're here to get this done. We have a responsibility to these people, whether they need us or they want us or whatever it is. Like, we have a responsibility to these people to help them, to take care of them.
Those are things we drilled into you guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
Keep it the
man.
same.
Mm-hmm.
How many
Oh, man.
meetings, Jay, did you talk about?
Oh, man. Guys, what are we doing? You know?
Is that the Jay question?
Yes.
Is that,
Yeah.
guys, what are
The
we?
line is, when we said keep it the same, what we meant was keep it the same.
Yep. That's exactly right.
Is that staff meeting one-on-one with
Yep.
Jason Ross?
Mm-hmm.
What are are we doing?
It's good to see that it works, though. Good to see that it sticks.
Yeah.
But that's contagious. That leadership's contagious.
It is.
That's the stuff. Nobody wants to walk into, you walk into work and hear somebody complaining. That's pretty normal.
Right.
But when you walk into work and somebody's like, all right, I'm excited for work today, it almost like convicts you, even if saved or not saved, it convicts you. You're like, oh, I should probably do that too.
That's right.
It's good.
So we were right that these skills aren't pretty natural everywhere, huh?
No. Yeah, you're completely right. Yeah.
The list, the don't suck list.
Yep.
That's it's a truth.
That's
Yes.
right.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
man.
Tucker Robertson, you're the man, dude. We're so proud of what you're doing, seeing you transition from being the boy to being the man. So man, we're right here in your corner, man.
Absolutely.
And just completely proud of what God's doing in your life, and the leader, obviously, Tuck, who you've been here at camp. We are just eternally grateful
100%.
for what you did being here,
Thank you.
and to seeing what you are doing now. That's the bro movement, man.
Yeah.
That is what it's all about. What a legacy. And your legacy is not behind you. Your legacy is in front of you.
100%.
And
That's
so
great.
we are just so proud of you, man. I know there's a lot of guys out there listening, a lot of guys, millions that are listening right now, Tucker,
right. Yeah.
to you.
So many tune in.
But before we end, Tyler, let's see how good Tucker is. Okay? Let's see how good Tucker is. So, Tucker, we want to play a game with you to end. It's a Brook Hill game. Can you put the leaderboard up there to put the pressure on Tucker? Is Julia in the lead?
Oh, I swear, if she's in the lead.
That'll give you more motivation to win.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Let's see. He is.
She's more competitive than I am.
Yes.
Or she'll rub it in my face more than I'll rub it in anybody's.
She does do that.
Yes.
She does do that.
What's that? Yeah. Yeah.
So there it is.
Okay, so here we go. Lindsay.
Callan, of course.
Lindsay
is at second
Perry.
place.
So we have all right, so here's the categories. I would put you as a current, not an alum. I mean, like an old alumni.
Yeah.
So the currents are in second, and the old alumni are in first.
All right.
Okay, so there's no pressure there. I love the honorable mention of Jason
Now,
Ross.
I just want to say before we move on, I think something needs to be established and said. I was the first one. I was the very first one to do this whole
Yes.
challenge, and
How much time did you have?
has changed since then.
You had the 20 seconds.
Yeah, what is it? 30 seconds.
It's 30 seconds now.
So 10 extra seconds.
Technically, you and Lindsay would be tied because you're at
100%.
1 for 1, like 1 second.
That's okay. It's not about me. I'll stay at the bottom.
Yeah, so we got Lindsay, Callan, and Griffin, 30, 27, and 25. And then, so to me, if you don't get better than Stuart and Julia at 24, it's a loss. That's what we're gonna.
Yeah, that's good.
That's what we're gonna
man.
call it right here.
As a legacy.
Stuart, because he's a walker. We can't let a walker or Julia be better than you. Okay.
This might be
All right. So here's
not
how it's
good.
going to work. You're going to get a 30-second timer up there, and it's going to put a lot of pressure on you.
Okay.
And you have 3 categories to name as many Brook Hill things as you can.
Okay.
The Brook Hill things are going to be camp songs, camp activities, or camp cabins. You can go any, like you can cross over like constantly.
Yeah.
You can go song, cabin, activity, and it can
Okay.
be new, old. Obviously, you know all the new ones. So, but just name as many as you can
Okay.
in 30 seconds.
All right.
When the timer goes, you can begin.
Walkers, Mustangs, Hackneys, Buckskins, Appaloosas, Mavericks, Morgans, Broncos, Palominos, Riflery, Archery, Nature, Island Games, Water Rides, Mini Golf. Wait, that wasn't a thing. Sports, boys sports, girl sports, tumbling, drama. Let's see. Appaloosas. I said that one. Palominos. Nope, said that one. Percherons.
Oh, what was his unofficial score? 21 unofficially.
Jason on a tear at the start, though. He was at like, he was at like,
I wanted
didn't
to see if
that
you
there.
used it. Oh,
I didn't
yeah.
see that. That's smart.
I wanted to see if you used it. So, all right.
Started blanking.
unofficially, we will come up with the official thing, and on the next podcast, we will know.
Nice.
What were you at? Man, Tucker, appreciate you spending time with us today. Love what you're doing, man. Keep going out there and making a difference. Life, Legacy, and Leadership, the Rook Hill Podcast.
Thanks for having me.